Okay, so I have to drive this afternoon. My dad, he's going to something, so I get to drive the big 9570R that we're borrowing while ours is getting worked on with our new Crot 10. I was dammer diking in the field just on the other side of this ditch, but I can't do both, so I got traded off doing that, and now I'm gonna hop in this thing. Okay, so to tell you a little bit why I'm in this, they were actually done planting. So they finished planting, finished all the field work. All we had left to do was the dammer diking. Well, when they got finished planting, they wound up having about 6 10-wheelers full of seed left. So we had planted this field into grain. Well, the grain seed only comes to about $1,500, $1,500 to $1,800 for the grain seed. But to have 6 trucks of potato seed left over, you're looking at closer to $40,000 worth of potato seed. And we could also make a little bit more money on potatoes. So we decided to work up this grain field that we have already planted, and we're going to plant potatoes in it. So my dad had to leave, so I am going to finish working up this field, and they're going to come in with the planters tomorrow, and they're going to plant this. It's about 90 acres. So they were planting about 200 acres a day, so 90 acres, that shouldn't take very long to do. So, but yeah, that's why I'm out here in the chisel plow. We were thinking that we were done with this for a while, but looks like we're still going. Well, you can see how well this thing does though. So our grain was starting to come up. It's about 4 inches tall. You can see how well this chisel plow really works it in. You can also see these giant tires, but it just makes that nice and smooth. Works it in really good. You can see a few, no, I mean, you can't even really see a few. You really can't see any of the green where we've worked. It just does a good job. This tractor though, it feels massive just because you have the big tires and it's really wide and extra long, but it really isn't any bigger than our 9510 as far as like the cab and the hood size and everything. It just has these big tires that make it feel extra big. So because of the grain, we are actually using the discs on the front to help chop them up, work them in a little bit. So it's nice that we have this chisel plow because it does a great job working everything in. So yeah, we'll keep working and get the rest of this field done. I gotta turn around here at the end, and this big this is an articulated tractor, and this thing, it is kind of funky to turn at the end because you have to make a big wide turn. Nice thing about GPS is I can go over here on this line and know that I'm still straight even though I'm skipping a couple. That makes it so I don't have to take such tight turns. Now in this field we are going a little bit slower. I know in the other fields he was doing 11th and going about 7 miles an hour. But in this one we're going 6.5 in 10th gear because this wasn't worked deep last fall. This was worked up to be a grain field, so we didn't work it deep. So now we're basically having to work it deep with the chisel plow, and it's struggling a little bit more. But still doing a good job, making it look nice. Those mountains look nice. We still have this big mountain over here. It's got snow on it. That one actually usually has snow on it for most of the year. That one's pretty tall. But it looks like we're over halfway done. Probably only have about 30 to 40 acres left of this 90-acre field. But I will get this field done, if not tonight, then tomorrow morning. And I'll show you a little bit more of some planting of some potatoes tomorrow. Because they're gonna be planting. And I'll try and get a few shots of that. Well, it's going pretty good. We do have this big storm moving in. We'll see if it rains on me. I don't think it'll rain enough that it'll stop me, especially because this field is pretty dry. We planted this clear back in March. and it's just been sitting here, so I don't think it'll stop me, but this chisel plow is sure working it up nice. Should be good for planting potatoes. There's been some lightning over there. I don't know if I'll catch a lightning bolt while I'm filming this, but there is a storm brewing. It's raining out on the desert for sure. Well, it's starting to get a little bit windy because of this storm back here. If I look off over here, you can actually see a cloud of dust just blowing across the ground over there. I think it's about to get really, really, really windy. As that storm gets closer, it's really pushing the dust. See all this dust right here? The wind's coming. It's coming with this storm. All the dust is getting blown away from the chisel plow. Well, I think the wind is here. Look at that. Whipping that dust off the ground. I'm also getting quite a bit of rain. If we look over at the dairy over there, all that dust kicking up. Glad I'm not outside. So it's still kind of raining, but something that most people might not see is you can see the dark dirt is where it rained and the light dirt is what I'm working up. So I see that all the time, but I thought, oh, maybe some people don't see that very often because the ground is really dry underneath, but got a little bit of rain on top. So it's quite the contrast there. You know, not everybody gets to experience driving through a big flat field like the one behind me in a thunderstorm, because I'm always a little bit nervous whether or not I'm going to get my tractor struck by lightning. Luckily, I do have these big power poles out here in the field, so I think if there was lightning going to strike close, it would probably strike those, not me. But it's a little eerie out here and dark and lightning striking all over the place, but I just got to keep on going. Alright, well, I finished the field. Just finishing up the ends here, working it in, and then I'll go park this, and tomorrow we will plant this field. So I'll just take you guys right to that. In 3, 2, 1. Hey, look, it worked. So we're getting loaded up. We're gonna be, well, Christopher's already over on the other side over there planting. You can't see him, he's clear over there on the edge, but we're getting these two loaded up. Looks like they do have fertilizer left over because our truck is empty. So we'll get these loaded up and we'll start planting. Just loading up the bucket on this. Looks like Josh is trying to do some calibration. Get rolling here. This loader, you'll hear it. It really squeaks. There's a bearing out on the drive line. We don't usually use this loader. We usually use our other one. Ooh, I love that squeaky noise. But it'll work for now. Josh is just taking off now. Problems he's having is he doesn't have enough fertilizer in his tanks to prime the line that pumps it up to the top. So we're gonna have to figure out how to fix that. But he's going. We're gonna go over here and look at Christopher's. So here comes Christopher. Now this field it's kind of like a wedge. So these rows are really short, and as you go that direction, they get longer. But these rows are so short right here, he'll probably be able to do 5 rounds maybe. He can do quite a bit. I can see Josh has stopped over there digging. He's actually right there. But he's digging, checking spacing. We got to make sure the spacing is right because we only have 6 trucks of seed left. Because that's what was left over. We didn't know. If we would have known earlier if we were going to have more seed, we could have sped the planters up on the last field and just planted closer spacing, but we didn't know. So they've got 6 trucks of seed left, which if they do the right spacing, they should be able to plant this whole 90 acres. So we'll see what we can get here. I see Trevor's going way over there. Josh is at the end over there. And then Christopher's almost to the end over here. He's going to turn around and come back. They should be able to finish this 90 acres in about 5 hours, so we'll see. Turn around and we're going to hop in with him. This one's a pretty nice setup. Now we would like to try the Spudnik belt planter. So Spudnik, if you're watching, we want to try one of those next year and see if we'd like to buy one. Hop up here and hop in the cab with Christopher here. What's up?
Oh, just, processing the never-ending planting season.
Yeah, it seems like it never stops.
I mean, I've been planting grain since when?
March?
Yeah, end of February.
Was it the end of February?
I think I went out before the 1st of March.
Yeah, it's been
a while.
been planting forever. But today should be the last day.
Yes.
Ideally.
We thought last week was the last day too.
Yeah. So, do you want to explain what happened?
Well, so what happened, we ended up with a bunch of extra seed left over. And why we had so much seed left over was, if you figure on 1,200 acres of seed potatoes, and if you cut your seed at 2.4 ounce, let's say was 2.6 ounce, that was the average. Well, 1 or 2 ounce different in weight of seed on what we figure could equate to 1 or 2 sacks per acre. If it was 2 sacks per acre on 1,200 acres, and that would have been 2,400 sacks. So we only had 1,825 sacks left over. So that had a little bit to play into the factor of why we had that much seed left over. But also our spacings. If we were planting at a 12-inch spacing or an 11.5 inch spacing. I think we're going for 11.5, but a 1/2 of an inch different is also 1 sack roughly per acre different. So on 1,200 acres, you could be at a 1/2 of an inch different spacing on your seed piece. You could be up to 1,200 sacks on the whole 1,200 acres off. So calculating and getting everything just right with 3 machines to get down to where you use the exact amount of seed that you plan for, or you think you plan for, because you also have to figure in the chips when you cut them, how many chip loss you have. So I think 1,825 sacks for this year is pretty good, but we'll definitely do some better calibrations and weighing and measuring and everything else next year. We might have a different planter for next year. I know we were thinking of trying a Sputnik.
Yeah, Sputnik, bring us a belt planter. We want to try one.
Or you know, if we can't get one of those, we'll maybe do another Lockwood. I don't think we could go back to 2 planters once we plant with 3 and can do, you know, 200 acres a day. It's hard to go back to 2.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it getting done. I mean, usually it takes what, 2.5 to 3 weeks with 2 planters.
Yeah, you're at least 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks.
2 to 2.5 weeks, and this year they did it in just over seven or 8 days.
7, 8 days.
So having that 3rd planter really sped things up.
Yep.
Now you guys should have all seen this already, because you should have all watched the planting video by now, but we'll just give you some more planting content to enjoy.
Don't forget to smash that subscribe button and hit a like. Turn notifications on so you can see when we upload our next video.
Yeah. It really does help the channel out when you do that. It helps with because YouTube's algorithm, the more people who hit the like button and all that stuff and subscribe, well, the more people they'll show it to, because they see that people like it. So yeah, do all that to support the channel. So Josh is over there with the repair truck. They are, well, he has fertilizer in both tanks on the tractor, but because the tanks, his have a big arch. So like on this tractor, it just goes right from there straight underneath and connects to that one. But his has a big arch that goes over the wheels, and it won't, because the system is not primed, it won't pump it up that arch. So they're pumping from one tank to the other tank to try and get one tank all the way full so that it will pump up to the little white tank up on the planter. So that's one problem we're having, is we haven't been planting for a few days and his system lost prime. So hopefully they can get that fixed. I'm sure they will. And then Trevor's down there at the end. I'm not sure what he's doing. Maybe he's checking spacing. Yeah, maybe he got out to check his spacing. All right, well, I mean, he's already planted maybe 4 or 5 rounds, and he's still, you can see the potatoes in his bin through those little holes. So he still has potatoes. He probably can do at least 2 more rounds. He'll keep going, we'll get this field planted. Trevor keeps checking his spacing, that's why he stopped right there. And we have the Bingham Co-op, or I guess Bingham Ag is what it's called. We have the Bingham Ag guys out here checking our spacing, making sure, because we had to move our spacing from about 12 inches to about 14 inches, so we don't run out of seed. If we do too close to spacing, we'll run out of seed. If we do too big of spacing, then we'll still have seed left over. So we're trying to get the spacing just right so we don't run out and we don't have extra. Well, I think we've got their spacing all dialed in. They're over here planting. And these 2 guys right here, I just met them. Well, one I know, he's been working for us for a long time. He's our agronomist. But the other one, he's an intern from Ghana. So he's all the way here from Ghana. And in Ghana, his family farms, they grow palm for palm oil and cocoa, and I can't remember what else, but they grow a bunch of other stuff in Ghana that I've never even seen before. But when they were digging up, checking spacing, because this was a grain field, we worked it up. He was showing me some of the grain plants, so I'll show you these. So this is some of the grain, if I can hold it right. So we had pretty good grain. What's funny is the seed is still pink. So it was growing, had some roots on it. The seed is still pink, even though it's been in the ground for about 2 months. But that's what grain we had that we just worked up to plant all this into potatoes. Because, well, you make more off of potatoes and the seed costs more. So we decided we would just work up the grain and plant the rest of our potatoes in here. Okay, well, they're planting. They're all going. We got to keep them going. They'll be done with this probably by shortly after lunch. But I have to go hop in the dammer diker and get the dammer diker going. So we have a lot of that to do. Yeah, the dammer diker, that has to be done before they can spray for all the weeds. So we got to keep that going, and it's going to take probably another week to 2 weeks to get that all done. But we're going to maybe run shifts to keep the dammer diker going longer, because I don't really want to work 18-hour days by myself. We have enough people that we can do shifts on it and keep it running for much longer. So it was pretty cool talking to that kid from Ghana. He's here he's going to college, but he said that everybody in Ghana has a name based off of the day of the week that they were born. So I was born on a Friday, turns out. So my Ghana name is Kofi T, which is interesting. I have a different name now. Well, here's the dammer diker that I gotta hop into here in a minute. But before I do, I just wanna go show you guys this tractor again. I showed you a little bit yesterday when I was chisel plowing and the thunderstorms, which is kind of crazy, but it's hard to get a good idea of how big this tractor actually is. So we have our lovely Karat 10 chisel plow. This is a 9570R John Deere. Now I'm gonna set my phone up and I'm just gonna go walk up next to this thing so you can see how big it is, because I am about 6'6", so that'll give you a good idea of how big this tractor is. I'll go walk over there by the tire. This thing is pretty enormous. I'm 6'6", and that tire is basically as tall as me. This is a big tractor. Now, as far as the height of the hood, I think the hood is about the same as our 9510, but this one just looks way bigger because it has all of this back here that ours just goes back a little ways. It has this extra long section in the back. But we'll go back over to the dammer diker now. I have to fuel it up. All right, well, I'm gonna get this thing fueled up and head out to the field and finish the dammer diking. But I hope you enjoyed this. I know a lot of you have been asking for more potato planting content, which is hard to do when they're only planting for 7 or 8 days and I'm in this instead of out with the planters. So it was kind of bad for us that we had extra seed. We weren't planning on that, but I guess it's good for you guys because you guys got another potato planting video. So hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.